Well, hey everyone, it's Jason, and I got an email this morning from the PlatformIO folks letting me know, not just me, I'm sure they sent it out to a much larger distribution list, but letting me know that they have released a new version of the PlatformIO IDE. Now, I've used PlatformIO in the past, and I've even done some videos to sort of demonstrate how you can use it with our boards, but I've not been a real power user of it. And I have a lot of people that I work with in this industry and have gotten to know through the years that are huge fans of PlatformIO, and I really do like what they've done, but I haven't really messed with it a whole lot. I just kind of do most of my development with Emacs. I'm that guy. And then I'll use the Arduino IDE to upload it to our boards. But I'm willing to give this a shot again, and I'm intrigued by some of the stuff they're talking about, especially since they support some other languages, which is of interest to me for other reasons we can talk about later. What I thought would be interesting to do is to just give it a shot. Go download it, install it, see how well it works, and see what we can do by just running a simple example on our board. And what I think I want to do is I want to use it with one of our snowboards. And so for those of you who aren't familiar with our hardware, this is our snowboard here. It's this one, that guy. It's one of our small FPGA modules. And just like our Accelerate board, it's completely compatible with the Arduino ecosystem. You can program it with the Arduino IDE, which means we should be able to program it with the PlatformIO IDE as well. Now it's sitting here on a little breadboard with an AT-Wink 1500 Wi-Fi module. We use those quite a bit for connecting our boards to the internet and doing things for IoT connection with dashboards and that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's what I'm going to use. So let's give this a try. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch over so you can see my screen, and we'll take a look at downloading it, installing it, using with our hardware. We'll just see how well it works. Okay, let's jump into it. All right, so here we are looking at the email that I received from PlatformIO this morning, and there's a little bit of history here on what they've been doing recently and giving a little bit of details on it. Now, honestly, I've seen some of these emails come through, but as I mentioned, I haven't been using PlatformIO a whole lot recently, so I haven't really been paying real close attention. So if we scroll down, there's a link we can click to get PlatformIO IDE for VSCode. That'll take us to this page. And from here, we can go and we can actually download the Microsoft Visual Studio Code. And I've already done that. We're not going to do that right now. So it's installed. So we can just run it. We'll open that up, and then we'll follow the rest of the instructions here. So once this opens, we're going to search for the PlatformIO IDE extension. So let's come back to that. Actually, we can close this window now. So I had to find it, and the way I found it was if I just typed extensions here, and I went there, and that takes us to this page, PlatformIO. Here we go. Pretty easy to do, and we're going to install it. And it's relatively quick. I think it goes pretty easily, and actually, this is the second time I've gone through this process, because the first time I kind of ran into an interesting situation where I installed it. We'll see if it does it again, and where I couldn't find what I was looking for. Now, if we go back to the installation instructions, let's see here. Okay, so it says search, install it, and then we click the install, and I should be installed. Now we're going to go to the quick start guide here. And it's going to kind of step us through a real simple program that we can run. Now, the first thing you'll see is this step to say the PlatformIO home, to find that. And what I found is when I looked at the IDE, once I even installed it and it said that it's installed, when I went down below down here, it's not there. Now, what I had to do when I did it this first time is I went back and I clicked this reload button. And when I did the reload, it seemed to do some additional steps that I hadn't done the first time around. And then I ended up getting the menuing and the stuff that I needed, including this home page. So I'm not really sure what that's about. But if you try installing it the first time and it's not there, I encourage you to click the reload button and maybe it'll show up. Okay, so now we can go back to the quick start guide. Let's see. So go to PlatformIO home, and now we're going to go click on a new project. So let's do that. Click on new project. We'll give it a name, and we'll call it new PlatformIO. Well, we'll do this new PlatformIO demo, whatever. The board we're going to use, even though we're going to be using one of our snowboards, we're actually going to select the Alorium Accelerate. Since it'll still work, we actually need to contact PlatformIO and see if we can get the snowboard in there. That's on me probably to take care of that. It is the Arduino framework, so we'll click Finish. And now we're going to have it get set up. And when it's done, we'll have a project over here in this left-hand sidebar. And if we open that up, we'll see that we've got the project directory there, including a source file with the main CPP. So let's open that. I'm going to switch back now to our project. Quick start. Okay, it says open main CPP. And now what we're going to do is this is a very simple Blink program, right? It's kind of like the hello world for hardware. So I'm going to just include or grab everything out of here. I'm going to go back into our main, and I'll just get rid of all of this and paste this in. And so now we've got everything in there for the source code for this simple example. Now the compile button is down below, this little tiny check mark down here, which is the build button. It's kind of small, and maybe there's a better way to do that, or maybe I know there's a keystroke. Actually, if we go back and look, I think it even says, if we paste it in there, and it says you can build with Control-Alt-B. I'm on a Mac, so I can do that, but I think I'm going to just click the button for right now. We'll do that. Let me go back here. So we'll click that. We'll get ourselves a compile and just make sure that everything compiles okay. All right, so we get success. Now I need to plug in my board because I unplugged it to show you guys. And for those of you who don't remember, the thing that's different about our snowboard over Accelerate is we actually program it on the end through basically an FTDI type interface. So similar to some of the other Arduino boards and things like that that have that type of interface, and we need this little adapter here. So we can just plug that right into the end. All right, now we're powered. Now we're going to do an upload, which is this arrow like this. So we'll click that and we'll allow it to upload and see if everything works and if we indeed get a blinky light on there. Now I'm realizing as I'm doing this that I was using this snowboard for an IoT demo I've been working on. It's been running for a few days, so that effectively shut that down. So hopefully nobody else was trying to look at my dashboard or do anything with it. But we've got it updated, no errors, no problems, and sure enough, we get a nice blinky light, nice and bright, kind of saturates the camera a little bit, but there we go. Okay. Now that's just a very simple Arduino example. What we want to do next is compile something that's specific to one of our boards. And this is important because we actually need to add a piece of code to the PlatformIO IDE file, and I'll show you why. So let's say, for example, we wanted to do something where we took advantage of one of our Accelerate libraries. Now the first thing that we need to do is include it. Let's, for example, say we're going to hook this up to a group of servos or something like that, which is a great example of what our FPGA-based boards are really good at doing, is any kind of motion control acquisition and things like that, because they're very robust. You can do a lot of things in parallel, very deterministic in terms of the PWM control, so they're used for that a lot. So let's do pound include, and we'll say accelerate servo.h, okay. All right, now that we've got the Accelerate Servo library included, we can go ahead and compile. Now, it looks like PlatformIO picks up on all the libraries that you already have installed. So if you were using the Atom-based version before, it looks like it'll pick those up. I haven't gone and exhaustively verified that that's always the case, but it appears to be how that works. And so when we compile this, it should have that library there. Now, if you haven't installed our libraries before, here's how you do that. You go to the Home tab, and there's actually a libraries sidebar here. And when you click that, you can go and you can search what's in the registry. And if you simply search for Accelerate, it'll go off and fetch all the different libraries that we have. And here's the servo one. And let's click on that. And I believe that this is already installed. So it doesn't say, so let's give it a try. So we'll click install, and yeah, it does. Right up here, it says Accelerate Servo 1.1.0 is already installed. Now, let me pause here for just a second to talk about the libraries page, because I think this is something, a feature right away I would like to see improved with the PlatformIO. When you do your search like this, and we see all these libraries, all the stuff that we have released for our boards, there's no way, at least that I can see, that you can just one-click install from this page. Every library that you want to install, you have to click on the library like this, and then when you get to the next page, click install. That seems redundant and inefficient. I know, for example, with the Arduino library manager, when you do a search and you bring up a full list of the libraries, you can just click install in that list. You don't actually have to go and look at the detail page. And that's something that I would like to encourage PlatformIO to think about maybe making as an option for us, because certainly there are other manufacturers that have far more libraries than we do. And it's very, very easy to just search for their libraries by their name and then just install a bunch of stuff. But it's a small thing. It's just a little bit of a frustration. But anyway, so now that we've got the library installed, or we've verified that's installed, we'll go ahead and click compile. And we should get an error here. And the error is due to the fact that we're trying to compile a specific library that's designed for one of our Accelerate families, whether it's the Accelerate board itself or the Snowboard. And we're going to see this error down here that says servo library requires tools, boards, Accelerate, selection. Now, this is there because we are checking that to make sure that you have the right kind of hardware. And if you think about the Arduino IDE, the way that that's set up is under the tools menu, you can tell it what board it's using. And that passes a command line argument into the compiler. And then we can use that to verify we've got the right hardware out there. Because if you include a library that is intended to work with custom hardware, custom accelerator block, and it doesn't exist, well, then clearly it's not going to work. So the way that we fix this is by adding something to this platform INI file. Now the platform INI file, I'm going to clear these and then get rid of this so we can see it. The platform.ini file is just kind of what tells the compiler what to use and things like that. I'm sure I'm not even using the right language, but anyway, this is where we add it. And I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I'm actually going to go back to a piece of code that I know I have this code in, and I'm going to open this up in Visual Studio. It's a separate INI file here, and I'm just going to copy. And this is the piece of code that we need. So this is the flag. We have to add this build flag to tell it that it is one of our boards so that we can get past that compile error. So I'm going to go back to the one that we're using for our project. We'll paste that in, save it, go back to our main. And now if we compile, we should get rid of that specific error and be able to move forward with a clean compile. Now, what I have seen is with some of our libraries, some of the compilers fuss a little bit about some of the implementations of the code and the C files. So that's something we're just going to have to look at in terms of if you see some warnings here and there. But it looks like this one compiled nice and cleanly. So why don't we update that or send it up to the Snowboard. We shouldn't have any problems with it compiling and then uploading. And now we'll have that new code with that include file up on the Snowboard. Of course, we're not actually doing anything with that servo right now, that servo library, but it can be compiled. And I just wanted to show you that you need to add that platform INI code in order to get it to compile if you're using one of our libraries. So that is about it. I would say that generally speaking, getting it installed, using it, getting it working, if you're using a simple Arduino environment or using some of our boards, and I'm sure it's going to be true of the other platforms as well, very easy to get up and running, and so far so good. So what I'm going to plan on doing is using this for a little while for some of the demos I'm currently working on. If there's anything more that we learn about how it can benefit you as you're developing for our boards or even for Arduino or whatever, I'll be sure to share that. If you have feedback for us, either in terms of how our hardware can work better with this environment or other things you're using, please let us know. You can leave a comment right below in this video. We love interacting with you and hearing what you need and what you're doing with our hardware. And look forward to hearing more from you and hopefully sharing more. Hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again very soon.